that we just don't follow anymore in terms of gardening and homesteading. Now, it can be one of those things that convenience has been amazing and it's been really the reason we've disconnected from land. But talking about that, it is amazing that we're able to have this many conveniences because if you think about children and health and life expectancy, it's really gone ahead and reduced the amount of deaths, the amount of everything, okay, which is so important. And it's very important to basically how we've been able to manage, as a society. Hello, Oscar. Nice to see you. Um, and but there are things that we've left behind in terms of what we've learned from our ancestors, our grandparents and our great grandparents, that have been something that we really should have kept going, and food and growing is definitely one of them. And with convenience of food and making your own food, cooking your own food and storing your own food, if you give that to somebody else, then naturally they are going to be more profit driven than you are, and you're going to have a drop in the ability to have good food that's good for your body, you know, and something that is healthy and nourishing for your family. If you take that and you put it into the hands of somebody else, of course, you're going to have the issue where it's profit driven. Okay, so would you use real herbs, or would you use extracts when extracts are so much cheaper? Of course, you're going to be leaning towards extracts because you're profit driven. Whereas if you're making your own food, you can be, consumer driven, where you're worrying about what goes in it, if it's organic, if it has seed oils in, etc. So it is a really big different mindset. And as you can see behind me, I'm very much in to my canning. I love canning so much. Oh my goodness, did you see that jar? It was like almost hanging off. I love canning. Canning is super important to me. It's been a hobby that I've been doing for about 8 years now, and I grow all my own food. Well, I grow about 80% of our own food, which is amazing. And there's a load of different things on my canning shelf that I do think are just staples that we just need to kind of maintain so that we're able to have a good sort of standard of life. Can you hear that wind? Honestly. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what I've kind of got here. Yes, I can tell you what's in each can. So these are like my pride and joy. This is the first year that I've grown. I haven't grown. The first year I've canned so many of these apples. So we did have apple trees, but sadly we lost them. When you grow your own food, you'll know that not everything grows beautifully like it's Eden or something. Okay, so we actually got tons of apples from one of our friends, and we've got loads. I'll show you. Goes all the way along, and that is over a yard deep. As you can see, it goes all the way back. I can't even touch the back there. So it's very deep. He's got tons of food there. This is enough apples for a year, so we're very proud of that. And we made 2 versions of this. I made this version second, which is an improvement from the recipe of this one. Do you see how liquidy that is? I didn't use cornstarch in this, but I used cornstarch on this one, and it is such a beautiful texture. We use this for everything from apple pie to kind of putting it on breakfast in the morning. It's really delicious. But apples are something that we're investing heavily in. We're going to get 3 more apple trees this year, so hopefully it will be something that we're self-sufficient in for a very long time. Apple juice, apple sauce, and apple pie filling. Godsend, I'm telling you, especially when you have kids and they want something sweet, but you want to keep it healthy. Another thing that we're completely self-sufficient in is jams, and jam is so easy to make. I think if you're going to start being a little bit more self-sufficient and trying to get into this sort of hobby of storing your own food, either start with tomatoes are probably the easiest one to start with because tomatoes are so easy to grow. We grow 125 tomato plants, all different varieties, but we didn't start out like that, right? We started out with just 6 tomato plants, and I'm telling you, if you look after tomato plants correctly, you can grow enough to completely utterly cut out all of your tomato sauces, like pasta sauces from the shops. We did that our first year. Now we grow at 125. We are completely self-sufficient in all pasta sauces, barbecue sauce, ketchup, tomato puree, tomato soup, you name it. We eat a lot of tomatoes. So I think that is the easiest thing to get into, and that's water bathing. It's so easy. I have a ton of different videos on my channel all about water bathing and tomatoes. Very, very easy. I think the second one would be jam. We have, I don't even know how many plants of jam with of strawberry we have. We have too many strawberry plants. I weed them now. That's how many we have. And making jam is so easy to do. All it is 50% of your fruit to 50% sugar. Super easy. This is probably one of the oldest ways of storing food throughout the ages, because this is so, like, this was done years and years ago, even before like TV, electric, everything. And all you do is boil it. Now you can do open kettling. My grandma did open kettling when we were kids, and that's where you use hot jars and you pour the liquid in and then do the lid up really tight. That's kind of fallen out of favour now. If you're going to get into it, I would suggest doing water bathing or even steam bathing, because that is a very quick and easy way of doing it. What other jams do you make other than strawberry? Okay, so this is something that I learned over, like I said, I've been doing this for 8 years now. When I first started canning, I used to make all sorts of jams. I used to make rhubarb jam, I used to make pear jam, I used to make plum jam, you name it, right? If I could get my hands on any fruit, I'd make jam from it. My family hate every single jam apart from strawberry jam. We only make strawberry jam now, and I have about 50, 60 jars of strawberry jam that will way last us a year and a little bit into next year. Now, I used to make whatever like Instagram and, YouTube said, and I'd make that and my family wouldn't eat it. And I had a horrible time with trying to convince them to eat things they didn't like. Now, all of these years later, I don't make any other jam apart from strawberry jam because they won't eat it. I grow enough raspberries to make jam. I don't make jam though. What I do with my raspberries is I put them into like shakes and frap, whatever I'm making that's like a milkshake sort of thing. I also put them into pies and things like that. They'll eat them like that. There's absolutely no point of me making any other jam apart from strawberry jam because they will not like it. Another thing I've learned, and I'll show you. So I hate food waste. It's like one of my big peeves. And as you can see, that has no pulp in it at all. This is blended strawberries that I've strained. So it's only the juice and the strawberries. So all of that doesn't have any pulp in. This year, I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm not going to do that. Okay. They can just eat the pulp. So I made strawberry jam. You can see the difference between them. They look night and day, right? Literally. They won't eat this one. This strawberry jam has got bits in it. It's got seeds in it. My family just won't eat it. So it was a little bit of a wasted endeavour. So what I'm using that for is I make a lot of like jam tarts. They'll eat them in jam tarts, but they won't eat them on bread. This is the last jar of last year's jam, and this was their favourite. So next year I'll make this. I did harvest in just one go 27 kilos of strawberries. So we have a few strawberry plants, but it's not a problem. None of this will go to waste. I'll just put it into jams and cakes. We make jam cake, which is just a normal sponge with jam swirled into it before we bake it, so that it'll go on that and things like that. They're probably the easiest things to do. Barbecue sauce is this. This is the barbecue sauce. This is like the next step of tomato canning because it's a little bit harder. I do have the recipe for this on my channel if you want it. I'm sure Sharon doesn't mind dropping it down again in the comments. And basically, this is just normal tomatoes, and I have a technique that's really good. I don't like wasting a load of time and energy on doing things I don't need to do. So instead of putting it through a food mill or boiling it for hours, I just use a colander. And I got this tip from my nan. So I use a colander and I empty all my tomatoes into my colander and I drain the tomato juice off, because all of that water that's coming off your tomatoes, it makes your sauce really thin. And as you can see, this is barely moving. It's so viscous. As you can see, it's really thick. And you want a nice thick tomato sauce, especially on things like condiments, like your barbecue sauce or ketchups, because it will just soak through your bread and it will become really gross really quickly. And tomato sauces won't coat your pasta properly. So it is really important to um it's really important to go ahead and sorry, it's just popped up on my screen. It's really important to go ahead and make sure that you have really thick sauce, but I don't want to boil it for hours. So that's like my very easy technique, which takes absolutely no energy to do. And I've done it with all of my tomatoes. All my tomatoes are just roasted and skinned and drained. And that's how I've done all of them. I don't even know how many tomatoes I've got here. There must be. I worked it out the other day. And I've bought this year, remember I've been doing this for 8 years, but I've bought 200 extra jars this year. So I've done more tomatoes and food than I've ever done before, which is pretty impressive, even if I do say myself. But one of the hardest things I can is pickles. It's actually particularly difficult to can pickles. And the reason why that is when I first started, I just canned them like I canned anything else. And to be honest, when it comes to canning tomatoes, you can't really overcook them. Don't get me wrong, you can, do them under or whatever, but you don't really get an overcooked flavour if you boil them for an extra 5 minutes, say. But pickles are a completely different beast, and who likes a squishy pickle? They're gross. So this is something that I've really struggled with. One, to get the flavour right, I like a really sweet pickle. And two, I can't stand the mushy. So what I did this year is I actually bought an automatic canner, which I don't know where Bob's put that. It's on one of the shelves. Anyway, I got an automatic canner, and you can actually set the timer for it and set the temperature. So I didn't actually can these at 100 degrees. I canned them at, I think it was 85 degrees. So that was a massive game changer because they aren't mushy, they're crunchy. And who doesn't love a crunchy pickle? But I'd say that this is one of the hardest things to do, and one of the things that is very difficult to do without modern technology. So if you didn't have a automatic canner, can you do it? Of course you can, but you have to make sure that you're there with your thermometer, making sure that you keep it at 85 degrees and it doesn't drop below. So it is a little bit more difficult. I'm just gonna take a little drink. I get like when you talk too much, it's like, So yeah, so in terms of condiments, we are completely utterly self-sufficient. We've also got some this is amazing, this stuff. This is sweet chili, like you get at the Chinese or whatever. This is like a lovely, very quick meal for me because I just take some chicken, put in some eggs, which we have our own chicken, so we've always got eggs. Put in some eggs, put in some cornstarch, throw it in the air fryer, and when it comes out, it's all crispy. Drip it in this, and it's amazing. This is done with ghost chili, so it is very spicy, but I do have a really like mild version as well, and you can swap out the ghost chilies for like bell pepper, and you get the same sort of like great flavour, but none of the spice for like kids and things. So it is a really good thing to have, and I just wouldn't eat as much of this. It has no like cornstarch in it. It doesn't have anything in it that's like corn syrup, sorry, not cornstarch. So it is absolutely perfect. All real great ingredients. So you can control what you put into your food, which is really great. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy having the ability to do this. And every year it's completely different. I think as people and as animals, we were used to having years that are really abundant and years that were really, inabundant. And canning really does kind of safeguard you against that. So, for example, this year was an amazing garlic year. Like the garlics that everyone grew were huge. Let me know down below if you had amazing garlic year because we did. I've just got a question, sorry. Why is it not red? Oh, right. So why is this not red? Is because I haven't put any colour in it. this is what it looks like naturally. So I don't use any colouring or artificial flavours or anything like that in any of my cans. So you can see, even in my tomatoes, if I just get 2 jars of tomatoes down, they're completely different colours. And that's because naturally food's different, right? So one tomato is not going to be the same as another tomato. So naturally, over time, if you use fresh ingredients, they're going to look completely different. But if you are, once again, like I said at the beginning, if you were going to do shop bought, then they make sure that everything's the same. They make a massive batch of it and they'll add colouring into it, they'll add flavourings into it, and they'll add things like xanthan gum and etc. so that you have the same product in each jar, of course, because imagine if I buy a tomato sauce and it's completely different coloured, like this one's yellow and this one is what, like beigey sort of almost orange, then there's going to be complaints, right? So it's really important for them that everything is unitedly the same so they don't have complaints. When you're home canning, it's not going to be like shop bought, okay? Every single one of your tomatoes is going to be a different color, okay? It just is what it is. But if you do buy something in the shop, of course, it's going to be the same because they're using artificial ingredients a lot of the time. So the sweet chili is going to be this sort of almost pinky sort of orange color because this is the color, this is what leaches out of the chilies and it's only a little bit that comes out. So it's interesting the difference between them. But there's something that you do notice over time is that your food will be different than shop bought, and that is something. Hello, hello, hello. That is something that people do have a issue with when it comes to growing and eating their own food. When I speak to lots of gardeners, I speak to lots of gardeners on YouTube, in real life, on Facebook, like on all the messages that I have. And I love talking to people. It's amazing. And lots of people message me and say, "Oh, Nick, I actually can't eat my homegrown food because it looks weird or it's got like say bug holes in it, etc." And that is something that we're so used to seeing perfect, beautiful vegetables in the shop that we're not actually used to seeing like tomatoes with lumps and bumps in them. Like it's something that people kind of shy away from. Like this tomato here has a little lump and bump in it. It's absolutely fine. All this is where it was on the tomato plant and it's knocked against, say, another tomato plant, maybe another tomato, etc. So we're just not used to seeing tomatoes that have imperfections. And that's because supermarkets, they take tomatoes that are beautiful, perfect, and spectacular. They are works of art because we as consumers expect them to be. If you go to mainland, say Spain, you don't get beautiful tomatoes that are perfect, but the flavour of the tomato is incredible. So when you're selecting a tomato for, say, what it looks like, you do miss out on things like flavour. And it is something that when you start growing your own food, it can be quite, pushed off because you're not used to things having lumps and bumps. But honestly, if you get over that, it is the most rewarding thing that you can be doing because growing your own tomatoes, you've never tried a tomato before. You've tried your first tomato that you've grown. Everybody that I've kind of convinced to grow tomatoes have said that. And it is amazing. Sorry, my phone just said that I'm on low battery always. It's amazing how you can go from the mindset of when I first started canning, I just could not bring myself to eat what I've canned. I was so scared of botulism. I was so scared of literally dying. I had it in my head that if I ate anything that I canned, that I'd become incredibly ill. And it lasted probably about a month. And then I tried my first one. And I've been eating this stuff for like 8 years now. And I'm not scared at all. But that is a lot of people also say that they are scared of anything they cook themselves. But I always say to them, like, how can you be scared of something that you cooked yourself when we do it every day, right? How many people have put leftovers in the fridge and eaten them and not thought about it? I picked some of my spinach today. Amazing, well done. And put in my sandwich. Oh, yum! Spinach is so much better than lettuce, right? I think it has to be small holes. Yeah, from insects. I washed the leaves first, so I don't mind. Yeah, perfect. But so many people, Rebecca, get put off from that, and you shouldn't be. There's so like little holes are fine. And do you know what they say? Do you hear the wind? They say that if you don't have something eating your food, then your food's not in the ecosystem. And if your food's not in the ecosystem, it's because something doesn't want to eat it. And that's more worrying, right? If nothing's eating your crops, then there must be a reason for that. If you're growing, we grow 100% organically, and we always think of the rule of third, yeah? So the rule of third states that I sound like a science teacher again, don't I? That was my day job. Rule of third says that you want 2/3 of the harvest for yourself, and 1/3 of the harvest goes to pests, weather, acts of God, whatever it is. One time, my sister actually fell into my vegetable patch, right, and completely obliterated my courgette plant, right, completely destroyed it. So that was just an act of God at that point, right? She was a pest, but but this is the things that happens. You're going to lose a couple of your crops. You're going to have spinach with little holes in it. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that spinach, and I bet you it was the best spinach you've ever tried ever as well. I have not picked my spinach yet this year, but guys, if you do struggle growing spinach, the best time to grow it is either in the spring or in the autumn is the best time. Like now, if you have it in the ground, it won't bolt because it's too cold, and it makes really nutritious and wonderful spinach, which is just great. So very well done. That's a great thing to tell us all, because I feel like we need to tell each other this, saying it's okay that little imperfections are absolutely fine. And I mean that I just cut that tiny little bit out and it will be perfectly fine. And I'm probably going to pick out some of my overwintered tomatoes and have them for dinner tomorrow because they're going to be amazing. But like I was saying, this stuff, it doesn't even phase me now to eat. And I feed it to my children, I eat it myself. But it was something that I had to get through my mindset that this is actually okay. So, and like I said, lots of people say that too. So it is one of those things. But the other thing that I haven't spoken about yet, which I think is very exciting, I'm kind of like stepping into. I feel very confident in the canning. I feel very confident in harvesting and growing. But the thing I really wanted to get into this year and next year is herbal medicine. So that was like my next sort of forte to kind of explore. We have dabbled in it quite a bit. I am absolutely sold on fire cider. And it's so funny because we were speaking to someone over the allotment the other day, and his little boy is sick, and my daughter's like, you should make fire cider. It's revolting, but it works, because every time someone coughs in my house, I'm like, do you have some of this before it gets worse? And they hate it. It is revolting. But what I do is I have like 2-3 tablespoons in a cup with some honey, and I think it tastes all right like that, but they absolutely hate it. But that really does help colds amazingly. And two, would be nappy cream. Nappy cream has been my absolute mind change. My little son, Andrew, he was born prematurely, but also he has the most sensitive skin in the world, right? So his if he gets nappy rash, he gets it super bad, super quick, and really, really bad. And one time he did it when he was a newborn, and I went ahead and bought, I don't remember the name of it, but like say like a popular brand, and it was a proper brand of nappy cream. And I went ahead and applied it on him, and it blistered because he's so sensitive. So I said to myself, right, I'm not using that anymore. And I went in there and I found like an organic tube of calendula cream, and it was £10 a tube. I don't know you guys, but I just could not afford £10, and it was such a small little tube. Of course, you do anything for your kids, so you would afford it if you had to. But I was like, I grow calendula. Surely I can make calendula cream. Anyway, I made it, and it cost nothing to make. All it is a bit of olive oil, calendula. You put into the olive oil, leave that for 8 weeks. Then you drain it off, heat it up, and add some beeswax into it. That's it. That's all it is. Right? It's super easy to make, and I've been making it now for like almost 2 years. And I'm telling you, this stuff is amazing. But it's amazing for nappy rash. My mum had an operation on her foot. She used that to help hide the scar. That was amazing too. I've used it on like any sort of cut, obviously sealed cuts, any sort of grays, anything like that. It just is amazing stuff. And I honestly, Harry Potter pajama bombs. I honestly didn't think that natural medicine was a thing. I If you watch my channel, you know I was a science teacher for years. I have degrees in science. I was 100% like that focused. Like if a scientist didn't tell me that it was working, I was like, it's absolutely rubbish, right? Lately, I've just realized I was so wrong, guys. I was so wrong. And you know, natural medicine is amazing. Like I'm so shocked how well it's worked. And it really took like my son getting ill and etc to really open my mind about it. So now when anyone gets ill, my first thing to do is to look into natural medicines and like try to learn that sort of thing before I go to the doctors. In fact, I actually got bitten by a deer fly. I get bitten by deer flies every year and I'm mad allergic to them. My hands swell up like this. I took antihistamine, didn't budge. And I actually got a line like down, it was just terrible. My whole arm was swollen, right, from this deer fly. And I took antihistamine. I went to the doctor. The doctor was like, you have to go to hospital and get a EpiPen, and which I didn't want to do. Anyway, I found a plantain, which is a type of weed that grows here in the UK, and I ended up pulling it out, chewing it. I know that's gross, but I chewed it up, spat it out onto there, and made like a compress on it. I'm telling you, it was like it was popped by a balloon. It just went down. It was amazing. Now, am I telling you not to follow a doctor's advice? Of course not. I'm not a doctor. I got a degree in rocks. So I'm really not qualified to tell you anything to do with medicine. However, I will say that it's amazing stuff. And I really do recommend that everyone looks into it themselves. So that's what we're kind of looking into too. Another thing that I love, and it's something that generationally we've always known about. My nan always had lavender, and she would always put like lavender scent essential oils in our baths when we were going to go to bed. And I never really thought about it until I had my children. And my children are not good sleepers. They like would stay up all night if it was up to them. And now if you put like a bath with some like Epsom salts with just a little bit of lavender oil in, it's a game changer. It is absolutely amazing. Hello, Robin. Nice to see you. Milk and honey as well. Yeah. What I do with my milk and honey now is I've got terrible joints. I have a disease. Well, is it a disease? I have an illness where it attacks my joints. And I find that if I put it's gone out of my head now, of course. Not saffron. I keep calling it saffron, but it's not saffron. It'll come back to me. I put this yellow powder. What's the yellow powder? You know that stains everything. I can't remember what it's called. I put that into my milk and honey, and that really helps with my joints. And that has been amazing. So I don't have to take any painkillers, which for me is a game changer because I hate taking more tablets. Oh, it's really bothering me that I can't remember this one. If you know what I'm talking about, write it down below because it's just gone. Yes! Thank you, Robin, to the rescue, Tamarick. Yes, it's funny when you do lives because you completely forget. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Things go out your head, don't they? You're like, oh, goodness, people are watching me and everything. Yeah, Tamarick. It's amazing stuff, Tamarick. And I never thought it was. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. But Tamarick, also, someone said to me I think it was a couple of weeks ago, that one of their friends got very sick from, thank you, Sheridan. Thanks, everyone. Someone said that they got too sick from eating too much. Well, I only use half a teaspoon just to be on the safe side. But it is amazing how powerful traditional herbs are, which we've just kind of fallen out of love with because it's just so easy, isn't it, to go to the doctors, take a pill, etc. So it is quite incredible what is out there. So let me know, guys, have you ever tried any herbal remedies or any sort of like anything that I've been talking about, say canning, herbal remedies, etc. Let me know down below. Is it down below for you or is it to the side? Not sure. It's down below for me. It's absolutely freezing in my garage as well. So if I'm sitting here like this, it's not because I'm doing like, Mr. Burns hands. It's because it's absolutely freezing. I'm sitting on the floor as well because I have to put my phone on charge. But yeah, they're my big ones that I've found that are absolutely amazing. Oh no, I've got one more. Rosemary hair stuff. My hair is so much more curly as well from it, which I didn't expect. Ginger, yes, I have read about ginger, but I haven't used it yet. Do you use pure ginger or do you use powdered ginger, and how do you take it? I'm learning from you guys more than anything. Um, I love ginger anyway. Garlic as well. I love garlic. I'm trying. Well, I endeavour to try to grow ginger, but I never ever get round to it. I feel I've just never have. I need to. And turmeric. Yeah, fresh steeped in water as a tea. Right, I'm trying that. I'm gonna go get some fresh garlic, fresh ginger. I'm gonna try it steeped in a tree. I know that ginger is really good for anything digestional as well. And mint, mint. When I had a C-section with my son because he was an emergency. And I had horrible, like, when you have a C-section, they don't actually tell you that it's painful. Like your actual stomach hurts, not anything from the scar or anything like that. It's just you just are in so much pain. And mint saved my life. I like was in agony, and I was saying to the doctor, like, I can't. I'm in too much pain all the way because I wouldn't take morphine as well because I was breastfeeding, and all the way until I started taking her literally mint tea. It was like a switch had been turned off and there was no pain. It was amazing. I've heard Indian frankincense. Yes, I've actually made frankincense soap last week, and I have read that it's really amazing for spots. My poor little daughter has started to get spots. I know, it's quite adorable, isn't it? So I'm hoping that will be really good. Yeah, peppermint tea for 6 weeks after my C-section. Yes, yes, it literally saved my life. It was amazing stuff. Which is just mad because I used to have peppermint tea as like just a drink that I used to just be like, oh, this is nice. But it is amazing how powerful these herbs are, which does say that make sure that if you are going into this sort of line of herbal me- herbal herbal medicine, three times lucky, that you do doses really small and work your way up, because you can think, all right, these are just herbs. Of course, they're okay, they're fine, but they are ridiculously strong and really, really effective. Yes, it really helps for track wind. Yes, it really does. So I'm a child. Right, guys, I do have to go because it is bedtime in my house and I've got to take my lovely children to bed. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Thanks. Bye, bye, guys. Bye.